Hello and welcome to another episode of today's GK. I am Pooja Dwivedi, and in this segment we bring to you objective questions on a daily basis to help you crack prelims. So let's begin with the practice question of the last segment. With reference to the forum for decarbonizing transport, consider the following statements. The forum was jointly launched by Niti Aayog and World Resources Institute of India. The forum is a part of the Nationally Determined Contributions Transport Initiative for Asia project. So we have to select the correct statement. If we talk about the first statement, it is correct. Second is also correct. The correct answer is option C, both 1 and 2. According to a recent report by New Delhi-based non-profit Center for Science and Environment, the Indian government's scheme to improve energy efficiency in Indian industries and consequently reduce greenhouse gas emissions is not effective. The term decarbonization literally means the reduction of carbon. Precisely meant is the conversion to an economic system that sustainably reduces and compensates the emissions of carbon dioxide. The Forum for Decarbonizing Transport was jointly launched by Niti Aayog and World Resources Institute, and it is a part of the Nationally Determined Contributions Transport Initiative for Asia project. It focuses on developing a coherent strategy of effective policies and the formation of a multi-stakeholder platform for decarbonizing transport in the region. Moving on, consider the following statements. States have no right to secede from the Union under the Constitution of India, and Article 2 empowers the government to form a new state by separating or separation of territory. So we have to select the correct statement. Second is incorrect because it should be Article 3 in place of Article 2 in the second statement. And the first is definitely correct. States do not have the right to secede from the Union under the Constitution of India. Option A, 1 only, is correct. Several tribal outfits in Tripura have joined hands to push their demand for a separate state for indigenous communities in the region, arguing that their survival and existence was at stake. Among the political parties that have come together for the cause are TIPRAMOTHA, TIPRAHA, Indigenous Progressive Regional Alliance, and IPFT, Indigenous Peoples Front of Tripura, which had so far been rivals in the electoral fray. Under Article 3, the states have no right to secede from the Union under the Constitution of India, and according to Article 3, the Constitution empowers Parliament to form a new state by separation of territory from any state, or by uniting two or more states or parts of states, or by uniting any territory to a part of any state. Moving on, the Constitution further states that Parliament has the power to increase or diminish the area of any state or to alter the boundaries or names of any state. Moving on, PM Mitra Parks has been recently in the news is related to which of the following? The correct answer to this question is option A, that is textiles. Recently, the government has approved setting up of 7 PM Mega Integrated Textile Region and Apparel PM Mitra Parks in greenfield, brownfield sites with an outlay of rupees 4,445 crore for a period of 7 years up to 2027 and 28. The government has approved the setting up of 7 PM Mega Integrated Textile Region and Apparel Parks in greenfield and brownfield sites. Moving on, these parks will be developed by a special purpose vehicle which will be owned by the central and state government and in a public-private partnership mode. Each park will have an incubation center, a common processing house, and a common effluent treatment plant and other textiles-related facilities such as design centers and testing centers. Moving on, consider the following statements. Perform, Achieve and Trade scheme is a market-based mechanism to incentivize energy efficiency in the large energy-intensive industries. The Bureau of Energy Efficiency has introduced the Energy Savings Certificate under the PAT. We have to select the correct statement. Both of them are correct. The correct answer is option C. Perform, Achieve and Trade scheme It is a market-based mechanism to further accelerate as well as incentivize energy efficiency in the large industries which are energy intensive. The energy savings certificate were introduced in India in 2011 under the PAT by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency under the National Mission on Energy Efficiency. PAT covered about 13 energy-intensive sectors: thermal power plants, cement, aluminium, iron and steel, pulp and paper, fertilizer, chlor-alkali, petroleum refineries, petrochemicals, distribution companies, railway, textiles and commercial buildings, hotels and airports. Consider the following statements. About the Worldwide Cost of Living report. The report is compiled by the World Economic Forum. Tel Aviv is the world's most expensive city to live in. Ahmedabad has been listed in the top 10 cheapest cities, so we have to select the correct statement. The first statement is incorrect because this index or report is compiled by the Economist Intelligence Unit. Second and third are correct. The correct answer is option B. Recently, the Worldwide Cost of Living report has been released, highlighting that Tel Aviv is the world's most expensive city to live in. Paris and Singapore came joint second, followed by Zurich and Hong Kong. New York was in sixth, with Geneva in seventh. The report is compiled by the Economist Intelligence Unit and it compares the cost of living indices in different cities. The index is benchmarked against prices in New York City, and cities with currencies that are stronger against the US dollar are likely to appear higher in the rankings. In India, Ahmedabad, Gujarat has been listed in the top 10 cheapest city in the survey. Among the cheapest cities, Damascus, which is the capital of Syria, is at the top. It is followed by Tripoli from Libya, Tashkent from Uzbekistan, Tunis from Tunisia, and Almaty from Kazakhstan. Moving on, consider the following statements. The elected members of the Parliament and the elected members of the Legislative Assembly elect the President of India. The minimum prescribed age for members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha is 25 years. We have to select the correct statement. First is correct, second is not. Why? Because if we talk about the age which has been prescribed for Rajya Sabha, it's 30 years. For Lok Sabha, it's 25 years. Only one is correct. Option A is correct. Recently, a question asked by MP in Lok Sabha was disallowed. It has put questions on the power of the MPs. What are the powers of the MPs? The elected members of Parliament and the elected members of the Legislative Assembly elect the President of India. Qualifications for Rajya Sabha: the person should be a citizen of India and at least 30 years of age. For Lok Sabha, not less than 25 years of age should be there. Moving on, consider the following statements with respect to tropical cyclones. The World Meteorological Organization uses the term tropical cyclone to cover weather systems in which winds exceed Coriolis force. Cyclones are rapid outward air circulation around a low pressure area. We have to select the correct statement. First is not correct because it should not be Coriolis force but gale force. Second is also incorrect because cyclones are rapid inward air circulation and not outward. So the correct answer is option D. The cyclone Jawad is likely to reach the north Andhra Pradesh and south Odisha today itself. Cyclones are rapidly inward air circulation around a low pressure area and the air circulates in an anti-clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Cyclones are usually accompanied by violent storms and bad weather. The word cyclone is derived from the Greek word cyclos, meaning the coils of a snake. It was coined by Henry Beddington because the tropical storms in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea appear like coiled serpents of the sea. There are two types of cyclones, namely tropical cyclones and extratropical cyclones, which are also known as temperate cyclones or mid-latitude cyclones or frontal cyclones or wave cyclones. Moving on, if we talk about the gale force, it is a minimum of 63 km per hour. Okay, let's move forward. Consider the following statements with respect to Coal India Limited. It is a Maharatna public sector undertaking. It is headquartered in Kolkata, West Bengal, India. We have to select the correct statement. Both of them are correct. The correct answer is option C. Niti Aayog reviewed and discussed the mission of Coal India Limited to produce 1 billion tons of coal by 25-26. Coal India Limited is an Indian government-owned coal mining and refining corporations coming under the ownership of Ministry of Coal, Government of India, headquartered in Kolkata, West Bengal, and it is the largest coal-producing company in the world and a Maharatna public sector undertaking. It is also the fifth largest employer in India with nearly 272,000 employees. Let's move forward. Which gas was leaked that caused the unfortunate Bhopal gas tragedy? The correct answer to this question is option A. Yesterday was the anniversary of Bhopal gas tragedy. Considered among the world's worst industrial disasters, the Bhopal gas tragedy was a gas leak incident 37 years ago on the intervening night of December 2nd and 3rd in 1984 at the Union Carbide India Limited pesticide plant in Bhopal. Post midnight on December 3rd, 1984, methyl isocyanate, which has a chemical formula of CH3NCO or C2H3NO, it leaked from the pesticide plant of Union Carbide, now Dow Chemicals, which is an MNC in Madhya Pradesh, capital Bhopal. It is estimated that about 40 tons of gas and other chemicals leaked from the Union Carbide factory. Methyl isocyanate is an extremely toxic gas and its concentration in the air touches 21 parts per million. It can cause death within minutes of inhaling the gas. It is one of the worst chemical disasters globally and still continues to have its ill effects on the people of the affected area. And after the tragedy, the Government of India enacted a Public Liability Insurance Act 1991, making it mandatory for industries to get insurance. The premium for this insurance would contribute to an environment relief fund to provide compensation to the victims of Bhopal-like disasters. Moving on, consider the following statements. His death anniversary on December 3rd is observed as Day of Navarre at Navarre in Spain, where he was born. His relics were later shifted to the Bom Jesus Basilica of Goa. So we have to select that to whom amongst the following given options does these sentence describe? The correct answer is option D, Francis Xavier. On the feast of St.Francis Xavier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi greeted the people of Goa on Friday. Francis Xavier was a 16th century Spanish missionary and priest who is revered as 𝐃𝐫𝐢𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐢 Sahib, that is, Lord of Goa in Goa. Regarded as one of the greatest missionaries, he is also known as the Apostle of the Indies and Apostle of Japan. Francis was the first Christian missionary to venture into Borneo, Japan and Maluku Islands and other areas. His death anniversary on December the 3rd is observed as the Day of Navarre in Navarre, Spain, where he was born. He was first buried on beach at Shangchuan Island on the southern coast of China. His relics were later shifted to Bom Jesus Basilica of Goa. The Basilica of Bom Jesus is a Roman Catholic basilica which is located in Goa, and it is a part of the churches and convents of Goa, which is designated as the World Heritage Site by UNESCO. Moving on. Who amongst the following won the country's first silver medal in shot put in the F20 category at the Asia Youth Paralympic Games? The correct answer is option C, Ananya Bansal. India's Ananya Bansal won the country's first silver medal in shot put in F20 category at the Asia Youth Paralympics Games in Manama, Bahrain yesterday. She is an athlete with an intellectual impairment. Deepa Malik, the president of the Paralympic Committee of India, lauded Ananya for her performance in the showpiece event. Let's look at the practice question for the next segment. With reference to the census, consider the following. Socioeconomic caste census and decadal census were both started by Lord Ripon in India. Decadal census falls under the Census Act of 1948. I hope you'll answer it correctly in the comment segment. That's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.